The latest political argument is that the bully pulpit is useless, so it's a good thing President Obama didn't use it. Oh, God, they have found every creative way to make excuses for President Obama. Now I'm talking about Democrats and some progressives. And look, there's some smart folks, and Ezra Klein wrote about this in the New Yorker, and he's a great guy, and he's smart, and he makes a nuanced argument for it. But let me tell you something. When you break it down, it is weak sauce. And it's done for a reason. I'll tell you what it is. So it's, of course, to eventually defend President Obama. But now, before President Obama came into office, everybody was like, oh, the president, bully pulpit, that's his main thing. You get up there and you convince the American people. President Obama comes and doesn't use it at all, never makes his own case. And it's, oh, I want to be above partisan politics. I'm the adult in the room. No, I would never make my own case, heaven forbid. So what are you going to do? So the Democratic apologists have to apologize for it and go, oh, yeah, now that President Obama's in office, well, it turns out the bully pulpit was useless. Okay, no, don't worry about it. So what's their argument for this? Well, a number of books have been written by smart folks showing that the president doesn't always win when he makes his argument. To which I say, of course the president doesn't always win. So some of the examples they use is, well, Bush tried to pass privatization of Social Security, and even though he used the bully pulpit a lot, he couldn't do it. Yeah, but he also did a lot of other things. In fact, that was almost the only thing he failed on. He passed 2 giant tax cuts that even his own Treasury Secretary, Paul O'Neill, at this time said they would be reckless. How could you do this? There's no way. And the Democrats couldn't agree to it, could they? I don't think Republicans could have agreed to it. They thought, even Bush on the second round of tax cuts asked Cheney, hey, listen, didn't we already give giant tax cuts to the rich? But they did it anyway. They invaded Iraq when they had nothing to do with 9/11. But they forget all of that evidence of Bush getting up there and doing propaganda over and over and over again and succeeding over and over and over again. Well, remember that one time Bush tried privatization? So I guess the bully pulpit doesn't work. And then on Reagan, they're like, oh, it didn't work with Reagan either. It didn't work with Reagan? The bully pulpit didn't work with Reagan. So they have all these evidence. They're like, well, Reagan was against minorities, but during his, I'm oversimplifying obviously, during his term, turns out American popular opinion actually shifted more for minority rights. Okay, so Reagan was way outside the mainstream on one issue, and it turns out he couldn't sway the American people to hate blacks more. Wow, you showed the bully pulpit doesn't work. How about the major example that he said, tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts. And that's what the Republicans have said for the last 30 years, and every president of theirs has repeated it over and over. And what happened with the country? The only thing they ever do in Washington is tax cuts. Because if you ever ask anybody in Washington, D.C., let alone the rest of the country, they say, well, if you want to stimulate the economy, I don't know, what do? Tax cuts. President Obama put a third of his stimulus package was tax cuts. Okay, in order to stimulate the economy right now when he needs re-election, what did he do? Payroll, tax cuts. You're telling me Reagan, talking about the wonders of tax cuts stimulating the economy, didn't work? That didn't work? On which planet did it not work? God, how long and how far will you go to try to find an excuse for President Obama? It's really sad if you ask me. And then other examples they use. Look, President Obama did a State of the Union speech where he presented his case, kind of. And his poll numbers only went up 1%. Well, then obviously it doesn't work. You're going to measure a bully pulpit. He did a speech. Did it work the next day? Oh, it didn't work the next day, so I guess it was a good thing he didn't try for most of his term. Look, it's not that they don't make any good points. So some issues are already bipartisan, and if a president presses on it, well, you know what? The other party can wind up disagreeing with him. For example, the Republicans do it all the time. President Obama goes, okay, you win, let's do cap and trade. Republicans go, okay, now we're against cap and trade. So I get that. I understand that. And sometimes there's a better way of doing that negotiation, okay? But to say that you should never make your own argument because the bully pulpit doesn't work is insanity. And then, look, sometimes the problem isn't a communications problem. And Paul Begala, I got to give him credit, had an awesome quote about this. He said, quote, the Titanic had an iceberg problem. It did not have a communications problem. Because a lot of times people come out when their policy doesn't sell. They go, it was just a communications problem. I'm sure it'd be a perfect policy and American people would be in favor of it. No, sometimes you've got an iceberg problem. Your policy sucks. But Begala also said, if you don't try it at all, it guarantees you won't persuade anybody. Bingo. Come on, how obviously true is that? And then he also added, and to put it simply, your people in Congress and in the country will hate you if you don't. Well, this is obviously true, and that's partly what's happened to President Obama, that people get frustrated. They don't hate him at all, but they're frustrated that he won't make his own case. But don't worry, there's all these pundits riding to the rescue to say, oh, it's a good thing President Obama didn't try and didn't make his own case. Because, I'll tell you, bully pulpit certainly doesn't work.